Hi everyone, welcome to Audio Nautica. I'm Stephen. Today I'm going to do a bit of a teardown on this Crown Comtech 410. Now this is a really interesting sort of family of amplifiers, made by Crown obviously, made in the USA. These are about mid-1990s, and perhaps what's interesting about them, or I think it's interesting anyway, is that no one seems to be very interested in these amplifiers at all. There's a bunch of these for sale that are basically going for nothing. So this is a high power family of amplifiers. This one, the 410, I think it's about 220 watts a channel in stereo mode, about 450 bridge mono. So that's some serious power, but this is not the biggest model. I just finished pulling apart his big brother, the 800, and unfortunately it's been water damaged. Even though it is working, it's got fairly bad corrosion throughout the electronics, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up scrapping that one. So the 800 was his big brother, and then there was an even bigger one, I think the 1600 or something like that. So a lot of power, but these things they're going for nothing, like 150 bucks US or less. And I think that's because, being 25 years old now, these were intended for commercial installations, movie theaters. The 400 and the 800 were THX rated, for example. Movie theaters, churches, PA kind of installations. So 25 years on, those systems are all being decommissioned and replaced now, which means these amplifiers are basically being given away for nothing. So yes, it hasn't got the physical appeal of, you know, a 1970s Marantz or something like that. It looks very, very industrial. But I think if you're wanting to get a high power stereo amp, you could do far better. You could do far worse than with these. And, you know, for the money, I mean, if one comes up near you, especially if it hasn't had a hard life, grab it and give it a go, and there's nothing really lost. So obviously this is designed to be rack mounted. These two units, this one and the water damaged one, were in the same rack. I'm hoping the 800 caught all the water, so that's why I'm pulling this apart, to see whether this one's been water damaged. So the front is very unexciting, just a few LEDs and power switch, and that's it, and then air intake and filter here. So we'll turn it around and have a look at the back now. So here's the back. Screw terminals for speakers. These do support 70 volt as well as 4 ohm and 8 ohm. Here's your switch for parallel, dual or bridge mono mode. Circuit breaker does have input attenuators, and on this particular one, screw terminals for inputs, but these had order time input modules. So this is a PIP module. This came out of the 800, and so that supported balanced in, and then this Crown bus, which I don't actually know what that is, but as you can see, there's a fair bit of electronics on this input module. So this one might even slot in here, I don't know yet. The 410 was a later model than the 400. The 400 came out the same time as the 800, then they went to the 410, the 810, and so on. So let's get the lid off this thing and have a look inside. Okay, this thing's very large, so it's a bit hard for me to actually get it all in on the camera. But I've got the screws out, so let's just now take the top panel off. I'm just looking for any signs of rust, because this is the lid off the 810. See how rusty that is? But there doesn't seem to be any rust on this one. Okay, so here we are. So we can see this thing is really quite beefy. So obviously we've got two channels, so this would be right and this would be left. So we can see we have these heat sinks along here. Here are our finals. If it was the higher power version, then there'd be more transistors in there. And so there's the other channel. So we've got these very large 63,000 mic 150 volt DC capacitors here. We've got a nice fan here, big chunky power transformer. This is where an awful lot of the weight is. Front LED board, and then this is our input module here. So you can see we've got this frame to allow the fitting of the larger PIP module, but it doesn't have the back plane that this connects to, so you can't just whack this in. I have got the back plane out of the 800. I don't know whether it would be possible to retrofit it, but there you are. So while I've got this side open, I'll just have a closer look for any signs of rust on this side. Then I'll flip it over and have a look at the other side. Okay, so now taking the bottom panel off, and this brings the air filter with it, which actually looks pretty clean. Actually not that much dust inside this thing at all. Now, what I found in the other unit that had gone rusty is that the water had run through from the top side to the bottom side, and that's basically where most of the corrosion was. So I'm going to need to pull this board out and look at the other side of it, because that's where the corrosion was. And also some of these screws had rusted out, so I need to keep an eye out for any sign of corrosion. But so far it's not looking too bad. Let's pull this cable out. I'm not sure what these funny little things here are. This metal tab across this device here, but it has corrosion on it. But it was actually much worse on the other unit. So I don't know whether that's just, whether it might just be, it's just corroded in the air. But anyway, I'm going to pull this board out now and have a look under there. Okay, so this is actually looking nice and clean, but these solder joints are all looking nice and silver and bright. And there's not that much dust in here either. So this is actually looking, you know, for something that's around 25 years old, this is actually looking pretty clean. And then our drive boards, they're looking pretty clean as well. Apart from these little tab things here, there's no sign of any corrosion on them at all. You see our emitter resistors here, and the other board looks pretty good as well. Okay guys, she's all back together. It doesn't look like I can straight put that PIP module in. It might be possible, but I'm not really quite sure how. So that leaves me with screw terminals. I don't have anything just ready to hand to enable me to plug into those easily, but I've got the good old input source, the screwdriver. So I can just test that. and that seems to be working as expected. So that's encouraging. This unit does seem to be working, so I'll probably give it a bit more of a burn in on the bench once I get something made up to allow me to get a proper signal source connected to it. But this gives you an idea what's inside these Crown Comtecs anyway. A bit of a beast of an amplifier, especially if you go for one of the higher power ones. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please give me a thumbs up, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye for now.